I'm Jamie S. Rich. I've been working in comics for 20 years. Join me as we dig a little deeper into how comic books are made and get to know the people who make them. This is From the Gutters.
So now we've moved into Mike Allred's magic new studio, which is still somewhat under construction. But we're going to
The construction's done. The moving in just started today.
All the toys and the books are still moving in here, is what it's basically saying. So we're going to take some look, though, at some art and look at your process. What you've got right up top there is the cover for Batman 66, which is coming soon to DC Digital, I believe, first. Is that correct?
That's correct. This is, again, dream come true kind of thing. I love this so much. I don't even know where to start because I could go on and on. Adam West is a childhood hero, and for years I would see him at comic book shows and not dare. I didn't want to ruin.
That was burst the bubble.
Yeah, and so I sent Laura to get stuff signed for me, and then finally I saw him at a New York show, and nobody was there, which was rare, and I got the courage and walked up and started talking to him. I had done the Batusi Batman cover at that point, and we hit it off. And so being terrified that one of my childhood heroes would disappoint me actually really impressed me with what a charming, friendly, decent guy he is.
So, and there's the Batusi cover right
there it is under my...
Did that actually get printed anywhere, or wasn't that kicked off the cover?
Only in the previews catalog.
Okay.
And if you Google Batman TV show, it always pops up, which is amazing to me. And now it's actually, it's official now. We have the Adam West likeness can now be used and will be used in this new series. And for the first cover, I worked hard to get the likenesses for Adam and Burt Ward, but I also wanted to have as much of the iconic moments from the opening as possible, where they're running to camera, the Batmobile in the background, but also with the very stark graphic cityscape, which you would see on the end credits, the logo. And so I just compiled all those elements to have this first cover just be as iconic as possible. And then with the second cover, I'm jumping off and being able to play more.
That's a crazy level of detail. That's kind of almost Darrow-ish.
Darrow-esque.
Darrow-esque.
Yeah, every once in a while I just want to just noodle and just get in there, and Laura's really upset with me, all the alligator teeth she had to color in. But that's what she gets paid for, right?
She gets paid the big bucks and wins the Eisner.
That's right.
Well, that's the thing, is you're kind of becoming even more and more known for covers.
Just a little bragging here. I hand drew the logo on each piece just for my own laughs and giggles.
You need different hobbies. How complicated is your cover process, and who do you look at as far as like who you maybe emulate in terms of cover?
Almost with every case, an image pops in my head and I just shoot for it. I'm not really... that's probably where I'm my purest self when it comes to cover images. And I mean, with this one, it's obvious I'm looking at a source, and specifically the TV series. With this one, Jeff Parker, the writer, had done a doodle where he had Batman tied to a tree or something with alligators coming at him. And so that was a rare circumstance where somebody actually gave me something visual to play off of. And I wanted, so we're seeing water creatures, so I immediately thought, that boat. And it was an opportunity to get Robin in there in the Bat boat and actually see a rescue taking place with the Batarang, and Batman's already untied. King Tut's in this particular issue, so he has this staff. So it's kind of a traditional thing in the old Batman comics to have larger objects, like giant Two-Face coin and stuff like that. So and then I just went crazy with all the alligators.
Well, last year when the Eisner nomination for covers came around, and eventually Francesco Francavilla took it, kind of not necessarily surprisingly, because he was all over the place with covers. You guys on Twitter bantered a little bit. Do you feel there's kind of a competition not even just with him, but in general with some guys.
Getting nominated for cover artists has always been, I think when Red Rocket 7, when we were doing that, those got, I think those stood out because of the square format. Maybe that's how I made the cut. But this last time really surprised me because I was only doing iZombie, and I think a couple of Madman covers were eligible. So to see all the, like Dave Johnson, every single cover is just so intricate, and the design work, and yeah, you see all these guys, and so to be in there, that was especially flattering this last time. And now, of course, I'm thinking, well, I've done so many covers this year, I better be in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the Star Wars, Star Trek, Legion of Superheroes. I've done a lot of stuff for a lot of different companies, but no, I don't feel competitive about it. For me, I just want to have fun with it. And if people make note of it or think something is particularly special, that's just flattering. This is one of my favorite Madman images that I've ever done. This was the initial drawing, and it was rare that this is kind of in the doodle stage, but it's a tighter, almost completely complete doodle, and for whatever reason I hung on to this, and then I blew it up for a cover. And
I think it's Madman Atomic Comics #1.
It's like I did little icons of each of the characters that would be up in the corner or run down the side, and this was the Madman one. It was also used as a T-shirt, but that's my first drawing of it.
Was there a reference for that pose? It's an interesting in-action shot.
I was trying to, I was looking at a lot of Jack Kirby stuff, trying to get the foreshadowing, and but I didn't want it to be too distorted, because then it would be obviously copied from a Jack Kirby drawing.
You did like the hand.
So I tried to find a happy medium between that in-your-face Jack Kirby and a more realistic, relatable pose. Here's one of the It Girl covers, and this is a really good example of the kind of work I'll put in after the initial line art. In this case, doing a lot of graphite and erasing for highlights in the clouds, which then Laura captures all that and turns it into a color, to where it has, again, that organic handmade look, as opposed to a digital look, because it is handmade, but digitally she's able to control it. This is one of my favorite recent covers.
I just saw the other day, FF10.
I took this and took out some of the lightning, and then digitally gave them like 3 or 4 variations of it, and it's probably going to be an AR bonus or something where you actually see the lightning flashing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
His position is almost revealed. And here we're kind of going backwards on one of the last issues of FF I did. And so if you saw the pure black and white line art before, here you see where I'm coming in with watercolor washes and penciling, which then Laura gives that extra kick in the colors. But able to get nice, project a shadow across them as somebody enters the room. Here we have Alex Powers going off to find Dr. Doom. Mm-hmm. So we're going backwards here. Here's old John Storm. Johnny Storm after he's lost his eye and left arm and leg.
I love how you guys get Herbie the robot in there too.
Yeah, Doombots. Here, with that, I can backlight him. With they're standing in front of a window, and so I can control the light source with these tones. But just examples of how I can get a little more expressive after I've already got. Once we've got the line art scanned in there, it's I'm free to be a little messier.
You're painting in his stubble, it looks like?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just getting in there with a pencil. Here's an example of what I love about this business, because starting FF, I was just burning with enthusiasm and did this just for fun. And they wanted to use it, so they made these variant covers for FF 2 through 5.
So you've got FF going on for the conceivable future. You're up to 10 and 11 now, so.
Yeah, it's my day job is kind of how I look at it. A very entertaining, fulfilling day job.
And then somewhere in there you've had the time to pencil and ink a Batman story.
Yeah, fortunately, Mark Chiarello gave me a real nice long period to do that.
So when can Madman fans expect you to come back to Madman? What's next on the horizon?
Well, my goal is to get a special out a year. Last year was the 20th, and so 20 years of Madman is jammed in this book right here. We actually have 2 specials in the work now. One of them has this huge story in it, drawn by one of my best buddies, Matt Brundage, who is actually he worked for Spumco, with John Kay, and he just has this energetic, lively, cartoony style.
Right.
And this is going to be just a really playful issue with games and tricks, all kinds of goofy, crazy stuff in it. So just a very playful, again, experimental. And
yeah, so it keeps shifting.
Yeah,
sideways.
It's got also because I'm not organized with the pages, but yeah, he's just got this great line, and he also was a huge influence on me. Matt Brundage was in introducing me to artists. He was one of these guys that could. He and Shane Glines, who grew up together, if people know who Shane Glines is, they have this talent for finding these hard to find artists, these artists that influence other great artists but have kind of gotten lost in time. Bruno Premiani is another influence of mine that I wish more people were aware of. He did the original Doom Patrol comics. But so that's one special, and the other one is a Madman 3D special where 2 of the more, I don't know if I should use the word acclaimed, but the issues that really jumped out at people. Issue number 3, where I tried to draw Madman in the style of a different artist for each panel. So you'd see Frank Einstein looking like Dr. Seuss drew him, or Maurice Sendak drew him, or Jack Kirby or Mobius drew him. That is now going to be in 3D. And in the same issue, or the same special, issue number 9, which is the world's biggest comic book panel, where it's just one continuous tracking shot, an action sequence. That's going to be in 3D now too. So a guy named Christian LeBlanc is converting all those images to 3D, and
come with glasses.
Yeah. So I get to design little Madman glasses.
Nice. That's why you're doing it.
Yeah, for sure. After I graduated from high school, I was a lifeguard over the summer and got paid a whopping $500 to live at a summer camp and be a lifeguard. The whole 3 months, $500. And
that was when comics were a nickel.
They were actually, because I'd buy them at the secondhand store and there'd be a grease mark, 5 cents. So I'd buy these 15, 20, 25-cent comics for a nickel. But I found it's not here anymore, but downtown in Eugene, it was called Book Fair. It was like a used bookstore. And in the back, there were all of the Barry Smith Conans in one box, and there was a hand-drawn colored sign, $250. And I'd never seen a comic book store before, and so I'd never seen a full run of comics together before, and I thought, this is my only chance that I'll ever get all these books. And I thought, it's well worth it. So I spent half of my summer wages to buy all of these Barry Smith comics. When my dad found out that half of my money for my summer job was gone for this many comic books, he freaked out. It was like Jack and the Beanstalk. You know, I sold the cow and all I had were these were these beans. But this magic stock came from those. I had to prove to my dad that was worth it. And those books have inspired me probably more than any other. If you look at that run, you'll see Conan #1, where Barry Smith is still trying to be Jack Kirby, but he's got these, you know, swords, sorcery elements working in there. By the time he does the last issue with 24, he has become an artiste. It's the greatest progression of an artist I can think of to show somebody how somebody just grows incredibly. And then after that, he did Red Nails, which is my favorite Conan story of all time, with Barry drawing it. Beautiful stuff. So I have a comic book rack, you know, Hey Kids Comics spinner rack, and that's where I keep my Barry Smith Conans.
Those are the same ones you bought?
The same ones.
Wow.
I could never sell those.
No, that makes sense. I totally see that.
That's my beanstalk.
If only you had brought that money home, your dad could have gotten a new hand, but...
For $250 bucks.
Well,
back then.
So is Madman going to basically be going on forever? Do you see a conceivable end ever for that character, or is that...
I did have an ending originally. We were going to find out that he was important to the end of the world, or all existence, that somehow he was going to be a part of that. And then I read an interview with Mike Mignola where he had similar intentions for Hellboy. And so I thought, why am I getting all big and epic with Frank Einstein when my favorite stuff with him is the more intimate, simple things? And so then I just kind of put all that ambition aside and just decided, and also at this point I had realized that subconsciously he was kind of an outlet for me, and then started to admit that yes, there was more in Frank Einstein than any of my other creations. And so to kill Frank Einstein would be to commit suicide. So yeah, as long as I have stories to tell, I'll be doing Madman.
So we'll come in one day and we'll find your body and you'll be over the last Madman.
That's right.
Done, like trailing off the page.
That happened the other night. I put my head down for a little bit, and next thing I knew, I was, where am I?
And why is there drool in Medusa?
Yeah, this last month has been brutal. Just trying to catch up on deadlines and stuff, but we're almost there. We're almost back to normal.
All right, well, we'll let you get back to it. Thank you so much for having us to your house today and letting us into your studio.
Thanks for coming by.
So it's been a couple months since we last filmed Mike Allred down in Eugene, Oregon, but now he's come up to Portland, Oregon, and we're at the historic Hollywood Theater, where his band The Gear is going to perform the song Genius as part of the Dandy Warhols event for 13 songs in 13 places. So why don't we go inside and check it out?